Easy peasy lemon squeezy is not how I would describe watching this episode. Welcome back, everyone. J-Bone here, along with my compadre, Mr. CM Styles.
Hey.
Gonna run down The Walking Dead that just aired tonight. Season 7, Episode 4, Service. But before we dive into this, I just want to talk to you folks. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This week was funny. Styles and I would message each other back and forth, just kind of laughing a little bit. I never know how things are going to go on my channel. They either do or they get a few views, and whatever I get, I'm appreciative of.
Exactly.
And this past episode that I did, the episode 3 review, as of today or a day or two ago, just went over 1,000 views. That is insane for this channel. So I just want to take a second and say thank you. Am I expecting that from every episode review going forward? Absolutely not. I could get 1,000 on that one and get 10 for this one. I never take for granted what I get, and I'm always thankful. So just a quick thank you to everyone who gave that much love to this last episode. I certainly hope they do well, but I'm not expecting it. So, whatever comes down the road, we appreciate it.
Yes.
So, dude, this... Dude, I gotta say this. I almost lost the TV tonight. My wife hates Negan that much. Like halfway through this episode, she's like, "Give me something." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Give me something." I'm like, "Give you what?" She's like, "I'm gonna put something through this television." I'm like, "What?" Oh my goodness, she almost lost it. She's like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "That's Jeffrey Dean Morgan." She's a big Supernatural fan, and so she liked him as the dad and other things that he's played, this and that and the other thing.
Sam in Supernatural. Great acting too.
She hates Negan, I think, more than any other character we've ever seen from The Walking Dead. I mean, she hated the governor. She hated, what was his name? Gareth?
Gareth.
Yeah, the guy, Gareth. Who else have we seen as far as, we've had the wolves.
We had the wolves. We had those hunters that were with Daryl who were tracking down Rick for killing one of their guys. I mean, they've come across a lot of groups of people and a lot of, basically, as we would say in the video game world, bosses.
Right.
The top villain of the show. And it's like nothing compares to what Negan has done in the last several episodes. Starting with season 6, episode 18, when they introduced him with the whole Lucille thing and picking who is he going to kill, and then they finally showed in season 7, episode 1, and then it went from 1 kill to 2, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, this guy is going to be off the wall, and his sense of humor, straight from the comic books. And thank you, AMC, for dropping in a line tonight that you used in episode 1, but, well, actually, comic book 100, but you could have used in episode 1, but using it tonight made much more sense, and I am forever grateful. If you don't know that reference, let me just say I slid something down your throat, and you liked it.
Oh, how they ended the episode, yeah. Or that was like right as they were leaving Alexandria, yeah.
Yes.
This was another, we've had all sorts of stuff all over the spectrum as far as watching these episodes. The first one was legit a nightmare. Was really difficult to watch, very emotional. The gore factor was up there. Then you had the comical side of the Kingdom, and then we brought it back to the Where's that?
The Sanctuary.
The Sanctuary with, taking a look at how Daryl is getting treated inside his new abode. And then we bring it full circle back to Rick in his further getting adjusted to his new relationship with Negan. And this, brings everyone. Well, I shouldn't say brings everyone, but he brings he's got some different henchmen. We've saw some characters in here that I don't think we've seen in the last this season so far.
Yeah,
especially that the female that was Boston.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but
I don't know if they gave her a name.
Yeah, he gave her a name. They used it one time, and after that, it was like she went straight to work, and she was everywhere in Alexandria, and I was just like, wow. We've seen female saviors before, but nothing like this.
No, and Negan was Negan was in a fairly good mood throughout the whole episode. Sarcastic as hell. He got a little nasty a couple times, but he kept us cool through the whole thing. He never killed anyone. And then this girl, right after they get there, she's like, all right, move him out. She's barking orders, and the guy's just, oh yeah, let's go. So she is someone that I think we're going to see a lot more of this season. That was interesting. Certainly looked like she's how do I say this? Higher in command, similar to probably higher than Dwight. As far as command, almost she almost seemed like a right-hand man, but I don't know, right-hand woman, yeah, dude, this, they almost went the entire episode without showing any walkers in this one, and you still had chills at the end of this episode. And it was even a half an hour longer, dude. Overall, before we go into some bullet points of this episode, what did you think of this episode?
Dude, with this being an hour and a half long, we got a full 60 minutes of the show for once. And it was entertaining. It was chilling. You kind of had to sympathize for Olivia because of, like you said, how we're going to pinpoint everything here in a minute, because of some asshole who thinks he can just hide whatever he wants and no one will figure it out. It was just, it was Negan being down to earth. There was Rick being not in control, telling his crew that he's no longer in charge. It's now Negan's control. This episode was just all about control. So it was just heart-wrenching. And Daryl, of all people, being there just made it even more scarier that this guy is a slave to Negan. So I would hate to be in his shoes.
Yeah, they couldn't even barely look at him. They couldn't be like, hey man, how you doing? How is he treating you? No, nothing. Nothing.
None of that. He would shut that shit down, no exceptions.
Yeah, just how Negan loves to do, doesn't he? She loves shutting that shit down. Man. Yeah, and it was and Negan had a couple of one-liners, like I started out this review with the easy peasy lemon squeezy. So yeah, we do have a couple of laughs, not many in this episode. Negan keeps it pretty light. A couple people that do test Negan in this episode, one being Carl. Oh my goodness. Yes. Carl has got a set on him. I give him a lot of credit, but I also give Rick even more credit for bringing him back down. Negan, if he wanted to, he could have taken him out back and just offed him. Not even not even thought twice about him because he wants to walk in, get shit, no hassle, no confrontations. But this is the first time. So Negan was being. I actually sound like I'm sympathizing with Negan. God, this is.
Generous.
There must be something wrong with me. You know, it's like I'm justifying. Like I'm justifying Negan. Negan's patience for Alexandria. Yeah, and they took the one thing that was even. I mean, there was a couple points in here that were upsetting. Number one, what did you think about Negan taking all the guns?
Dude, I was completely shocked, but you know what? It kind of made sense. It was like, you took from us, now we're going to take back from you. You know, sooner or later, these two groups are going to cross paths, but, you know, things could have worked out a whole lot easier if Rick and, his crew didn't pop off the Saviors, but they were intending on killing him anyway. So doing what they did, it was best for business. If this was Triple H running the show,
they're honestly the Alexandrians, Rick's clan, whatever you want to call them. They're getting off easy in this episode, big time. Another point that was very upsetting was the fact that we see at the end that they took all the mattresses and beds from the people's houses and left them with, they didn't take all, at least they didn't take all the blankets and pillows and stuff. Because obviously we see after they all left, Rick trying to make some kind of makeshift bed on the floor for him and Michonne. But then Michonne leaving later, and she must have seen like the smoke.
Yeah, I was curious what she saw. I thought she saw like a herd of walkers or something coming her way. But like you said, she apparently she saw smoke, and you go over there and you see a bunch of burnt mattresses. I'm thinking to myself, I thought these guys were looking for, they were investing all their time into this only to burn shit down. So it is good stuff.
Yeah, and it's upsetting because it's like, okay, well, they took the guns and they took all the beds. They took all the guns, but then they took the beds and they burned all the beds and just left them on the side of the road in one big heap pile of garbage. And that is even more humbling. It's more infuriating. And it's just it's another point of Negan driving the point home that you're my bitch now. And whatever I do, you have to suck it up and deal with it. And Rick and everyone learned a really hard lesson tonight. And it's hard to watch because we're so used to Rick just, getting everyone together. All right, we're going to go get them. We're going to go take off, mount up. And they can't even think about doing that now. The only weapon that's left is the one that Rosita snuck in the car. What do you call that? Wheel well.
Yeah.
When she came back with Spencer, with Daryl's bike. Crazy.
This episode was just pure insane.
Yeah. What did you think about? How long do you think Spencer? Do you think Spencer's ever going to change? Do you think he's going to get out of his selfish ways, being a selfish brat, so to speak, or do you think he's going to come around? Because me personally, I don't see him lasting too much longer. Honestly,
no, I think his time is coming. His time is coming up soon. For the fact that you just asked Negan who he was, that was a big no-no. You don't ask who he is. Negan will introduce himself to you the way he wants to. There's no saying, who who are you to question me? Who the hell do you think you are? I'm surprised he didn't get himself gutted tonight. I think next week we're going to see the loss of Spencer.
We might. I think we're going to go back and forth. Actually, well, next week we're supposed to see. We're going back to the hilltop from what it looks like in the preview, and we're also going to see how. Oh, huge point. While we're seeing Negan ransack the place with his men and everything, it gets revealed early on in the episode when he asks about Maggie, and all of a sudden they get all solemn and quiet. And it's like, oh, Maggie's dead? And then all of a sudden, three quarters of the way through the episode, Father, what the heck's the pastor? The heck's his name?
Oh, Gabriel.
Gabriel, thank you. Is having a quiet one-on-one with Rick, saying, thanks for, covering that up. As in, he dug a grave, but there's no one in it. And, so that was a big playoff, as in to protect Maggie. That was like a huge, you go from oh crap, she's gone. And you're thinking in the back of your head while you're so pissed off at Negan, you're upset that they didn't reveal this somehow, some other way. And then come to find out she's not gone. So, wow, what a freaking roller coaster that was. What'd you think about that, dude?
I thought that was one of the greatest cover-ups they could have done. I mean, after Negan realizing, oh, well, this girl's married to the guy that he killed, number 2, who would still be alive today if it wasn't for Daryl. He was going to take her back to the to the sanctuary, make a wife out of her, and Negan's insane. This guy wants everything, and to say he wants Maggie, I was like, wow, that was something that wasn't even in the comic. But just to make sure that she doesn't get kidnapped or snatched up by the saviors, and Negan, digging that grave was the best thing they could have done. So I gotta say hats off to the AMC crew, or more like the creative crew who directed that, to say, oh, we're just going to make it look like she's dead. But we all know the case.
Oh, yeah. And just what a sigh of relief, too, because it's obviously, things are not looking good for Maggie. She's on her, for lack of better words to say, she looks like she's on her deathbed. You hope she recovers from, she was having pregnancy issues, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, it looked like contractions.
Or something. But, I think it was something worse than that, because, a woman can go through contractions. It doesn't look like she's at death's door. So maybe it's like she had a miscarriage or something. I don't know. I think it's...
We'll find out next Sunday.
Yeah, I think we're going to find out more details next week. And she's in a safe place, in theory.
For now.
Yeah, because it looks like Negan's men are going to be invading there soon as well. But it's not, doesn't look like it's Negan. It looks like it's another group. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully she's not in any more danger than she should be. Let's see. Other bullet points in this. Oh, and then the search, the search for the guns. Rick losing his mind, looking all over the place, and he finally found the 2 guns in Spencer's house.
Yeah,
and then ended up giving reaming him a new one at the end of the episode. And a very interesting talk I want to touch on here between Rick and Michonne. And that's one thing, we've seen them excuse me, we've seen them intimate. We've seen them together a lot. They obviously have a different relationship now than they've had in, say, 3-4 seasons ago. But now we get to see them communicating even deeper. What did you think about him bringing up Shane and the fact that Judith, who we did get to see in this episode, bring up the fact that Judith is not his, and that he had to come to terms with that, and compared that situation to what they have to deal with right now? What did you think about that, dude?
I thought that was a very deep segment. Him finally letting it out. Wow. Yeah, this is going to be the hardest thing to talk about, because we never expected Rick to talk about Shane ever again. Talk about how the baby is not his, but he accepted her. Basically, this was, accepting and letting go at the same time. Yeah. And the thing with him and Michonne, like you said, things are getting deeper with these two, but I see this as a split and apart as well. Only for the fact that Rick is giving up everything to keep them alive, but Michonne's like, you need to fight for it. And after seeing what they just lost, now they got to fight for something new, and they got to take whatever they can get. So either they work together or they're going to split apart, and she'll find herself a new man in the apocalypse. But as for the whole Shane thing, very, very touchy, because like I said, I never thought I'd hear that name ever again.
Yeah, that was really unique, and it's not, like I said, it's not something that he talks about with the he doesn't bring it up with Carl. He doesn't bring it up with he never sat down and talked to Glenn about it when he was still alive. We just didn't see him converse about it at all. Judith's been this little tucked away little gem on the show, and like I said, we did get to see her this episode, and when he did pick her up, holy cow.
She's getting big.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you can tell that time is passing, and they obviously the last time we saw her, gosh, what was the last time we saw her? I mean, we've seen her here and there, but it's always just a quick, oh, there's Judith. There was never a lot of, okay, now we're going to have a scene where they're playing with her, or they're feeding her. It was always just, oh, so-and-so is holding him. Oh, now they're handing her off to someone else. It was always something like that. And this was, so we haven't seen her in 5 or 6 episodes at least, if not more. And yeah, gosh, long curly. What is she going to be like? Somewhere between 2 and 3? 2?
Somewhere around there.
Something like that, yeah. And it's just a miracle that she's still alive. Especially after Negan's men coming in there and ransacking the place. I mean, they didn't destroy houses, but they took beds and stuff, and talked about Michonne finding the beds at the end of the episode, and dude, as heroic as a person as Michonne is, dude, yeah, she really needs to work on her shooting. Not so good.
Yeah, I thought she was firing blanks the way she was shooting at that Valker, and she didn't hit him at all, but apparently she hit a deer.
Yeah, she did hit a deer. And then even more frustrating is that she came back. Number one, she had to give up the gun, which she was pissed about. And then she had to give up the deer that she just killed. And, dude, Michonne's just fuming. So between arguing with Rick, you can call it arguing, I guess, lost the last rifle in the place, took dinner, and then took all the beds, and then she found them later, you know, on the side of the road, trashed and burned. And that's, yeah. It's going to be really interesting to see what, yeah, like you said, what kind of relationship Rick and Michonne have after this, because Rick is like, no, we all just got to chill out and just, you know, eat crow. And there are people in that, in Alexandria that are not ready to eat crow. You know, Carl's having a hard time swallowing this. Rosita obviously has a lot of fight in her because she snuck a gun back in, and she asked Eugene to make her bullets. So that's going to be interesting to see if that even happens, or if they can keep it on the down low. I'm afraid to find out, because it could be the death of Eugene, it could be the death of Rosita, it could be the death of anybody else finding out about this.
Yeah, I really don't know what else to say. I mean, you know, this is probably one of the best, roughest episodes that we've seen. Like you said, they burned the beds, they took everything. These guys have nothing. They'll be eating scraps for the rest of their life, as long as they're under Negan's blanket. You know, he's going to cover their world up badly, and you know, every week we're going to see them pretty much, you know, come to their place, grab their supplies. You know, even though he says, I want half of your shit can mean everything, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. And Rick needs to build up that hatred to where he wants to finally go to war. And I have a feeling we're going to see all-out war in the second half of this season now. Rick's going to start gathering supplies in the outer world, and he's going to have a lot of shit hidden. He's going to start learning from guys like Spencer and girls like Rosita. You know, they stow shit away so you can't find it. Luckily, he found those two guns, or else Olivia would have been meeting a faded Lucille.
And oh my God, the freaking line of Negan saying, "You shouldn't laugh." It's just how he said it was like, he's like, "You put a," I don't know, how did you say it? He's like,
you put a fat girl in charge of the rations?
Yeah,
you have got to be kidding me. I'm like, no. But this is The Walking Dead, you know. This isn't something you take lightly.
Yeah,
and this is a TVMA show. They're going to say whatever they can without dropping an F-bomb here and there.
Oh,
yeah. This is replacing all that shit.
Yeah, it is. And it certainly makes you hate the character even more. Like I said, I almost lost the TV tonight because my wife wanted to literally, you know, throw something through it. You know, she, I might have to, you know, limit her Walking Dead viewing to episodes that don't contain Negan. Maybe. We'll see. No.
Yeah. I can't wait to see more of Negan. No, this is one of them characters I've been reading since the comics, and you know, the Governor on TV had a charming sense of humor. In the comic, he had a sick, sadistic sense of humor. And then we came across it. You know, the cannibal was a Terminus. Garrett and his crew, you know, they were pretty sick-minded. All they wanted to do was eat. Their objective was food, and if it was human consumption, literally being humans, they'd go for it. But then we come across Negan, the baddest man of all lands. It's just, this is one of those guys that you're going to love to hate. And I hate hating him. There's nothing bad about this character whatsoever. It makes me wonder, am I Negan?
Yeah,
I'll say week in and week out. I just love the guy's sense of humor.
Oh yeah, he is quite the devious sense of humor. It reminds me a lot of the character that he played in what was that, Watchmen?
Yeah,
he was the
comedian.
He's got shades of the comedian in there, except he's very similar yet very different.
Yeah, there was another movie that I watched with him, and it called The Losers, and his role in there being the special operative, he even had a sense of humor on there that you couldn't, justify against. And I mean, I wanted to see John Hamm as the character of Negan. Everyone knows John Hamm from Mad Men, and he had he had the build, he had the sense of humor as him. But they were like, we're going to take a 180 and we're going to pick Jeffrey D. Morgan. I was like, why does that name sound so familiar? So I looked it up online. I was like, oh, that son of a bitch is Negan. I could not wait to see what they were going to do with him. And here we go. Little pig, let me in.
Yeah, certainly has not disappointed. I don't think I've heard anybody say anything negative as far as, oh, no, this guy can't play Negan. Everybody loves to hate him and loves the character. So this one was tough to watch because, like I said, everybody's eating crow and getting used to Negan's relationship and running the show, and a new humble side of Rick. Everybody's waiting for him to, okay, we're gonna do this for now, but what's the end game? When are we gonna fight back? And that's what everybody is waiting on. They're looking to Rick for that, and Rick is like, nope. I mean, I'm sure it is gonna happen. Like you said, All Out War is coming somewhere soon down the road. But for now, everyone is just, they got that empty pit in their stomach. Like, damn, Rick. What the hell, and even Spencer got shitty at the end of the episode, and after everything that Rick went through today, he had enough left in him to tell Spencer, he's like, if you talk to me again like that, you're gonna end up getting a broken jaw, or however he said it. But he
break his jaw, knock some teeth out.
Yeah,
he was pissed. But
so,
you don't bring up Glenn and Abe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was cold, But Spencer is another one of those guys. He's always like on the outside looking in, like he's never lived the danger that the rest of Rick's group has since season 1 to survive. He's gotten along pretty easy. So yeah, he's got that. I think that's almost, for lack of better words, a sense of entitlement, like he's a smart ass.
Yeah.
But so we'll see. I think his days are numbered, but we'll have to wait and see. Any other things you want to say about this episode before we wrap this up, Mr. Styles?
I think we wrapped everything up in, a 30-minute time frame. Just that this is another great episode. We got an hour and a half's worth of time. I can't wait for next week. I'm glad you mentioned the Hilltop. And, just keep holding on to Negan while you go ahead and rampage everything.
Yeah. Crazy episode. Not too much else to say. A lot of eating crow. And, this is... We're going to see a lot of this. It's humiliating, it's humbling, and it's going to make you love to hate Negan even more and more by the episode, and his whole group for that matter. Because I don't know if we're going to see Negan next episode, but we're going to see another crew of his.
We're going to see Simon's crew.
So that's the guy. We're going
to have basically the B team.
Yeah, kind of like his right hand man, basically.
Yeah, this is like NWO Black and White was in tonight. Next week it's NWO Black and Red.
the Wolf Pack. Cue the music. Dun, dun, dun.
There we go. Copyright infringements already.
Yeah.
Damn it, J-Bone.
I'm not even gonna hum it.
Nope. But yeah, just look forward to next week, folks. It's going to get more intense. I think we're going to see the fallout of the Hilltop.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them, certainly. We're going to see some characters we haven't seen in a while. We're going to see Jesus. We'll see Maggie. Hopefully she's taking a turn for the better. We'll see. And, the rest of the crew from the Hilltop, we'll see them. So that's going to do it for this one. Thank you, Styles, for joining me in this.
Always a pleasure.
And we'll see you folks again after, we try to do it as soon as we can after the episode. Take some time to set up and whatever. But we'll be back here live next week reviewing another episode of The Walking Dead. Will be episode 5. And thanks again for all the love on the channel.
Yes, we love it.
Yeah, keep it coming. Greatly appreciate it. Like, share, sub if you like what you see. And we'll see you soon. Peace.
Later.